If you want true life resilience, if you want to realize the full potential of who you are in this life, if you want healthy relationships and to be a good communicator, if you want strong immunity and digestion and physical health, then you'll definitely want to learn about your emotional world and how to process your feelings and communicate with them effectively. Why is it so important for us to process our emotions anyway? We live in a society that's constantly telling us that our emotions are inferior to our logic, that's showing our emotions makes us erratic or makes us weak, that we shouldn't trust our feelings and that we should make decisions with our mind instead. However, there's a huge misconception in this way of thinking. Many of us believe that we are thinking beings who on occasion feel, but actually the opposite is true. We are feeling beings who on occasion think. All of our decisions are based on our feeling, how it's going to make us feel to buy that car or pair of shoes or live in that neighborhood or go on that vacation or get that job promotion or study that subject. There is no decision that we make that is devoid of our feelings. We may prefer one feeling over another, but when we're constantly suppressing, rejecting, or denying our feelings, we can find ourselves on a treadmill where we are literally trying to run away from bad feelings and run toward good feeling. When we suppress this way, these feelings will find a way to manifest, whether it's through the attraction to a painful relationship pattern, the projection of a feeling that we haven't processed onto a situation where it actually doesn't apply, so not seeing the truth for what it really is, or we can manifest disease and imbalance in our physical body through the suppression of our emotions and our feelings. Before we get into the 3 assessments to help you to identify if you're suppressing your emotions and how, let's just talk about what an emotion is to begin with. An emotion is a neurochemical reaction to an external stimuli or an internal stimuli. So an external stimuli like somebody who's really mean to you for no reason, and an internal stimuli such as a fearful thought. There is a beginning and a middle and an end to an emotion. For example, if you have a wonderful day where you feel super happy and elated, you may notice that you just feel that. You feel that sense of just joy and you're just having the best day after. And then there's this sort of tapering off of that emotion and that feeling. You're not, elatedly happy. I mean, we wish that we were 24 hours, 7 days a week. All of our emotions follow that sort of peak cycle and taper off. But when we interrupt an emotion through suppression or denial or rejection, we can interrupt that cycle. And when we interrupt that cycle, it can become trapped in the physical body. It can impact organ and organ systems in the body, manifest disease, show up as anxiety or depression, the attraction to painful relationship patterns, irritability, and a host of other issues. Emotions are also vibration. So we actually vibrate, we emit a vibration. Our vibration attracts what is of a like vibration to us. Angry people will find reasons to be angry. Sad people will find and experience reasons to be sad. Successful people will find that success is just something that is attracted to them. By becoming aware of your emotions, you can shift them and effectively change what you are attracting and are attracted to in your life. Now I want to give you 4 practices to do that will help you to identify if you are suppressing your emotions and how. The first practice is to look at patterns, to look at the patterns that you feel emotionally. At the end of the day, before you go to bed, reflect on how you felt, or throughout the day, just be aware of your different emotional states and notice how different people or situations evoke different emotional templates within your being. And instead of getting overly engrossed in those feelings and those emotions, try to witness them from the observer state. The more that you do that, you're going to notice a pattern. When you become aware of an emotion that is habitually presenting itself in your life, sit with it for a moment and ask yourself, when was the most recent time that I felt that emotion and that feeling? Sit with that feeling. Do an inventory of your personal history and notice if you've felt that feeling with other relationships in the past. And see if you can identify the first person that you felt that emotion with and what was that relationship. With patterns, we can often trace the emotion back to our childhood and some kind of experience that we had with a parental figure, but not always. Traumatic relationships can also create a new emotional signature that shows up in our life as adults. When an emotion or a feeling is functioning on a habitual pattern in your life, it is revealing to you that there is an unprocessed emotion or feeling that's there. And so when we get to the techniques, I'll give you some tools to address that. It's also showing you something that is not healed within yourself. So you're either projecting that onto your external relationship, so it may not be accurate. In other words, the person may not be doing anything actively to demean you, for example. But because you have that unhealed emotion inside of you, you may be projecting it onto your primary partnership or relationship. Third practice is to look at the depth of the emotional reactions that you have. How deeply we emotionally react to something is based on how much we've been emotionally suppressing up into this point. You have two people driving on the expressway and they get cut off by an irresponsible driver. One guy totally loses his mind yelling at the driver who cut him off, and the other guy is just like, maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he's in a rush. What makes their two emotional reactions so distinctly different from each other? The same exact thing happened to both of them. But the first guy has a lot of suppressed rage, anger, and emotions that he hasn't dealt with. So a really, simple thing like getting cut off in traffic, he totally loses his mind. So when you're going throughout your day, just notice, how do you feel if the line is moving too slow? How do you feel when somebody cuts you off or somebody says something that maybe wasn't as considerate, or, you want to get off the phone, but the person keeps talking? Just notice the depth of the emotional reaction that you're having, and that will show you what you've got going on inside. I want to give you 3 techniques to help you to process your emotions. The first practice is to allow yourself to feel. Many times when we are feeling emotions that are not pleasant, we immediately react to it to try to get out of it somehow. You want to allow yourself to feel the unpleasant emotion, whether it's anxiety, anger, guilt, shame, rejection, abandonment, whatever feeling that you're feeling. Instead of jumping on the phone to talk to a friend, turning on the TV, pouring a glass of wine, going to get something to eat, going shopping, instead sit with the feeling and allow yourself to really feel it. That's really the first step, because our emotions and our feelings run on this cycle. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. We suppress when we interrupt that cycle. So you want to just allow yourself to really feel. You don't have to do this all at once. If you're feeling very emotionally about something, very deeply hurt, and it's just a lot to sit in that emotion, you can set some time aside and just do a little piece at a time, and then put it aside and then allow yourself to feel it. It's really moving through your body and allowing it to go. The second practice is physical movement. If you were in the wild and you were being chased by a lion, what would you do? You would run. Running and physical movement helps to relieve stress from the physical body. Your body doesn't really know the difference between a big, scary lion and an aggressive boss, for example. And so you may have a similar neurochemical reaction as you would to the lion that you had to your boss. But what most of us do is we don't run. We continue a sedentary lifestyle. We continue business as usual. And so the stress doesn't have an ability to process itself and to complete itself. Because our emotions impact our physical body, we have to utilize the physical body to move the emotion. It's not just on the mental level, but these things are actually impacting our physical body. So physical activity, whether that's running, dancing, or movement, will help you to process stress and negative emotions. The third practice is through the breath. Yogic breathing practices help to regulate the nervous system and move stagnant emotion. And there are very long breathing practices. I have a link below to one of my favorite breathing practices that you can try that can help you to process your emotion. If you haven't seen the first shift where I talk about 4 ways to unlock your mind, you can certainly watch that. The link is below. Thank you so much for your time and your consideration today. I hope that this information aids you on your path. I can't wait to see you in the next shift where we're going to be talking about digestion.